or not we need them. We appeal to them. And
no, we don't appeal to them at all.
Societies, we do appeal
women
to them.
Women just got in the military. Women just got the right.
Imagine saying that we appeal to women because there are some women in the military.
To go into the military just a few years ago.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long.
What was it? 2 decades ago, maybe? So what are you speaking about?
If you are face to face with a female police officer, she's going to be the authority in the situation. And also now, like the modern age, we have the great equalizer. We have the
what do we have?
Glock. We have the Glock. We got the M16.
You know,
we got all any and all of these great equalizing weapons.
Do you think that do you think that generally a woman can use the Glock as good as a man can?
If they're in the maybe not as good, but if they're in the police academy or if they're in the military.
No, wait, answer that question.
They're going to be in a position
yes or
where
no.
they're going to be able to use it better than most men who aren't trained for it. That's for sure.
No, yes or no. Do you think that women are as capable to use a Glock as good as a man can?
It's this silly semantic game where we're not talking about the collective of men. It's not like, oh, if it was boys versus girls, who would win in a fight?
No, I'm asking you about police. No, it's specific about police.
Rights enforcements are done via via an organization within the state. And that
answer this directly.
Real quick, he wants to bring up how guns are the great equalizer, but yet he's probably on the side that wants all the gun control, right?
I just want to see if you're living in reality. Out of
women. That is
out of our police force, right? Who do you think is more equipped to handle a Glock? The men in the police force or the women in the police force? Who's more equipped?
Probably the men, but the women would be
probably the men
capable in which they would be able to handle themselves.
And do you know that there has been
in a situation with an everyday citizen?
You think so? Why is it when women?
This is so
why is it? Let me finish my point. Why is it that women police? Why is it that? Okay, why is it?
Well, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You could go ahead.
Yeah, maybe let Evan finish his thought, and then you can you go ahead after that.
Okay.
No, I mean this argument to me is very silly because it just doesn't have anything to do with patriarchy because according
it does. What do you mean?
According to Cooley's definition of patriarchy, if women held all positions of economic and political power, because we need men in the police force, still it would technically be a patriarchy. Nobody defines or has an idea of that's what patriarchy means, and that's not what feminists.
That isn't what I said.
That's not what feminists. Okay, so would you say
you
that
straw man in my position?
Okay, then I don't know what you mean by patriarchy when you're defining it as rights enforcement, when that has nothing to do with patriarchy. If you want to defend patriarchy as being necessary, you actually have to demonstrate that men holding a predominance of power in political and economic
it's very simple. I'll explain it to you again.
And
I'm making a clear distinction.
You can't do that empirically because states that are the most egalitarian rank the best when it comes to measurements, and this is why empirics are so fucking important.
No, that's a lie.
When it comes to actual measurement, it's not a lie. We can graph life satisfaction on a scale, and we can take states even within liberal democracies, so excluding states like Afghanistan. When you graph it on a scale, even among liberal democracies, countries that are more egalitarian and take more of an effort to ensure that women's participation in their political framework and their economic framework are better off, economically speaking, and in terms of
birth rates decrease. Okay, so listen. Stop. No, listen. What you just proposed.
Teen pregnancy decreasing.
Got it. What you just proposed was countries that are more egalitarian. It's better for society. That's what you think is better. I don't think that it's better when it destroys. Okay, let me finish my point. I don't think that it's better when you see that birth rates decrease, when you see that divorce rates increase, when you see that it's so many other things. Since there's a single mother, thing that's going on, there's more child delinquents, more more degeneracy in society because
do you think
women aren't staying with the men. So you see the destruction of the nuclear family. The nuclear family totally gets destroyed when feminism, when the indoctrination of feminism is about. So what you're saying, that's good. That's just not my definition of good. Do you think that, real quick, do you think that the nuclear family is a good thing? Do you think that we should try to strive towards the nuclear family?
No, because the nuclear family would have women prioritize having children and staying at home. And what we actually see from the data,
women always worked. That's just not true.
Okay, so you like women in the workplace as a
no. Where did you get that from? What I just said. What I'm saying is, even prior to women being in the workforce, women always had little jobs. They always did little secretary work. They always had little daycares. They did little things to get money. They were always helping out. Even when it came,
waitresses, stewardesses in the airline, like, there were stewardesses. There's always been women roles in the workplace
when it comes to finances, but that wasn't their main priority. It wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying is, women wasn't obligated to be in the workforce. Now women are basically, if you're gonna go ahead and get a college degree, you're gonna incur a lot of debt. You got no choice but to work. It's like, it's no choice but to work. If you get a college degree, you acquire all of this debt, or you got to get a man and get married and get that man to pay off that debt. But these women don't want to get married. So back to my original question, you don't think that the nuclear family...
Going back though, well, he was answering the question about the nuclear family, but in his answer, he was saying, well, no, I don't want the nuclear family, because in there, the women had to prioritize staying home and, and raising the children and stuff. Like, if that's such a terrible thing, like, oh no, that would be like, imagine if as men we're like, yeah, we don't want the nuclear family because we have to just work all the time. Like, we just got to work all the time. And then we got to do this. Like, imagine if we use that excuse for the nuclear family. I don't know. It's always painted as oppression when it's like women, though. It's always like, I think, like, if it were the 1950s, right, and let's say, and the feminist movement would happen, but the women's roles was working and the men's homes was staying home, right? Then feminism would have been about, you're treating us like wage slaves. We're just your slaves to go on and earn a paycheck. No, women, we need to be free. We need to choose whatever we want. We should be able to stay home and raise the kids. That's would have been what feminism would have been about. It's just whatever with it's women, it's like we always view it from the lens of like, no matter what we do, it's oppression to women.
Is good for society? Can you answer?
Yes, I will. But do you define a nuclear family as the woman? Is the woman working in a nuclear family?
Man, woman in the home, children. Men and women.
So woman in the home.
Women in the home.
Not working, not getting a college education. Right.
She's not prioritizing. She's not prioritizing her career over family.
And would you say the nuclear family also involves getting married at a young age, like early 20s?
I mean, that doesn't traditionally that's what it was, but a nuclear family doesn't have to be getting married at a young age. As long as there's a woman and a man in a relationship, they have children, that is a nuclear family. Traditionally, they got married much younger.
So I will answer your question. No, women, stay-at-home mothers who do not work have about 5 times greater likelihood of poverty than women who participate in the workforce. In fact, the plurality of women who are stay-at-home mothers want at least some form of part-time work. Maternal education, meaning women who have college degrees, are far more likely to be associated with positive cognitive and behavioral outcomes for their children. So basically what I'm trying to say is that even among those who are doing families, the traditional family of a woman not getting an education and not having a career whatsoever and just getting married immediately after high school, the traditional role, that's leading to actually worse divorce rates and less favorable outcomes for the children.
Do you know that you just debunked your own statement? It was circular. I'll explain how you debunked it yourself. So you said that you do not think the nuclear family is good for society. You said that you don't think it's good. Then you give... Under my definition. Then you give examples of single women doing you just gave examples of women that pursue higher education and pursue a career doing better than single women. That's the example you just gave.
It wasn't single women. It was stay-at-home mothers where the husband is working. This is out of Pew Research.
Okay, so you gave a stat that said independent women that give that seek higher education and get a career.
Doesn't mean independent. So I did 2 points. I can explain.
Well, if they don't have a family, then they're independent. That's what I'm saying. Going single. They don't have a family.
So both of these are family related stats. So the first one is going to be stay-at-home mothers where the husband is in the workforce, right? So stay-at-home mothers where the husband is in the workforce are 5 times more likely to be in poverty. That's 15% compared to 3% versus
then both women and the father working at the same time.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the other thing I provided was maternal education. So that means after a woman already has achieved education and had a career, then they go on to become a mother. That elicits better outcomes for their children cognitively and behaviorally. So
and
how does it though? So if a woman is more likely to, like, if it's better to have a mother that's gone to college, well, that would mean that they're going to be going and pursuing a career while they're a mother. And so if they have a career like as a mother too, like, how is that better for the child and who's watching the child and stuff like that? Like, logically, it just doesn't make any sense. So sometimes that's how like they're probably BSing, is when they'll say things and you think about it, it's like, well, that doesn't sound right. How is that possible?
To actually get an education, yeah.
Yeah. Question for this stat that you're given: does it show the age range of these women? Like these women being married and and working, and their husband is working. How old are they?
So it's a systematic review and a meta-analysis, which means it compiles a ton of different research papers together and then evaluates them. So it
doesn't break down to the specifics.
Not that one. No.
What study is this? Can I have a link to it? Because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, sure. You could send it in a. You could just send it in a private chat real quick. If you see it.
Sure.
You see it?
Do you want me to? Yeah, but would you want me to?
I just said yo.
Oh, in the private chat there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
So,
smoking a joint on camera,
while you're sending that, basically you're using this as an example. You're stating that, well, Cooley, women that are working, women that are staying at home and the man is out there working, they experience more poverty than when it's both parents working. Well, that would logically just make sense. Like, okay, if you have 2 people working rather than 1 person working, then obviously they're gonna have more income, because 2 incomes is better than 1 income from a general standpoint, unless the man is making buku money. You know what I mean? So that makes sense.
Right.
The other parts that you alluded to when you started speaking about the benefits of it, I wanted to hear that because, well, how would the child benefit at its younger years if the mother and the father is working? That means that the child would have to be off somewhere at daycare, and some random person is, teaching and watching the child. So that correlation wouldn't even make sense to, well, yeah, it would allow time for the mother to get the education and she becomes more wise. Well, that would make sense. But then I need to know what age these women are. I need to know what age. Sure. Like if they're 35 years old, it's like, okay, well, the
second one that I pulled up was the meta-analysis.
Did you send it?
Some paper. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to see what you were saying here.
This is not even actually controversial. If you just look up maternal education outcomes, children, it is like all over the place.
Yeah. So when you're speaking about maternal education, it doesn't actually make sense. And I'll explain how it doesn't make sense, because if someone is raising a child, I have children, so I can explain. I can speak from anecdotally as well too.
I know.
But so what I'm saying is a lot of these
high school graduate mothers are doing better off for their children than like college graduate mothers. Anecdotally, really intuitively speaking, you think people who got
so that's the thing. Like even when I'm looking at this study here,
So dude, I wish you would have let Cooley talk because I wanted him to finish his point. But no, I agree with Cooley. Like, if you just think a bit logically, like, how does that make any sense? And he's sitting there going, well, do you think if a high school educated mother is better than a college educated mother? Well, okay. Like, do you think a high school educated father is better than a college educated father? There's a lot of fathers who only graduated high school. There's even some fathers that didn't even graduate high school, but like, who are good fathers that are providing. You don't have to be college educated to be a good mother. And what do you mean by better mother? Like they just know more things? How does it make them a better mother being college educated as opposed to high school educated? He's gonna have to explain that one.
Even when I'm looking at the study here, the funny thing is it has the imprints of little fingers of feminism written all over meaning that this what happens here when you're looking at stats. Some stats are created to, they don't really give, they give all of these assumptions. This is what I'm trying to get down to, what they presuppose. This stat doesn't. This stat right here that I'm looking at it on my screen, and I can actually pull it up and share it to everyone else.
Why you would I'm saying here for the data if you're just going to ignore it or like
because I've just looked at it and it didn't give any type of breakdowns of the age of the women or anything like that. So this is just dumb because one, if it's the age of the woman and it's a high risk pregnancy, some of these kids could even have Down syndrome. Some of these kids could have certain birth defects. So what is this even getting at? They can probably only produce one. This household can probably only produce one child because she's already 42 years old. So this information isn't giving me anything. Let me land my plane, bro. Let me just land my plane. Just let me land my plane. Speaking while I'm speaking, let me just land my plane. Just by me looking at it, I was looking for more information from this because you wasn't giving it. And when I'm looking at it here, it's not giving any other information either. So the only information that you gave is all you can give. This is why you can't really answer my question. So I'll ask the question again, right? So how is it beneficial for a child living in a home with both parents working in their younger years? The mother has to be off at work. She can't even breastfeed her child. She can't even breastfeed her child. The child has to drink Similac versus the other household where the mother is home. She's nurturing the child. She's breastfeeding the child. She's teaching the child at the younger years. She knows exactly where her child is. There's no bad touch at little daycares going on. You get what I'm saying? How is this better, which this stat doesn't show at all? How is this better than the other system that we're speaking about where there's a man working and the woman at home? How is it better for the child?
It's a false dichotomy because
it isn't false.
It is a false dichotomy. Let me explain.
Go ahead.
Because we have something called paid maternity leave, paid paternity leave, paid family leave, subsidized childcare.
That's only for 6 months.
Which all exist. Yeah, well, and not in other countries. This is why it is important to advocate for pro-family economic policies. And this is exactly what is happening in the Nordic countries where they have good
Oh my God, dude. These liberals are so obsessed with Nordic countries. That's their go-to. My Nordic countries. Oh my gosh, I love the Nordic countries. They are doing everything all right and correct. Like, dude, they always got to bring the Nordic countries. The Nordic countries, they pay for everything there.
For their children, for the society at large, they have good outcomes because they prioritize. So for I think a lot of the Nordic model countries, a lot of them you can either if you decide to stay home, you can take a stipend from the government, or you can
I know about all of this. And all of this gets debunked with everything that you just said. So think about the system we had prior to it. Think about the system we had prior to it with women not being liberated to the degree where they can just not even barely work and they can have OnlyFans, and they're prioritizing a career in their makeup and Instagram photos rather than family and children. Remember that world. I don't know if you remember, but if you just read some history books, you would see that we actually didn't need a 2-income family. Society was constructed in a way where we did good with just 1-income family. And what I'm saying is the indoctrination of feminism. I can explain why it happened. It happened. What'd you say?
Why did it happen?
Yeah, so when we're speaking about feminism and we're speaking about the suffragettes and their influence on let's say non-government organizations like the Rockefeller and Abby Rockefeller, where she played a huge part in second wave feminism, which she gave money to second wave feminism, this is women's liberation. Yeah, go in a workforce. You don't need a man. Seek higher education. You can do bad all by yourself. This was all indoctrination to, instead of, think about the industrialists, right? Instead of having one person in the home working for our company, we can have 2 people in the home working for our company. So this would double our productivity. This what it was for. It was all for materialism. It's not rooted in anything good. So even the baseline, the idea of feminism was all for materialism. What the suffragettes and their movement was all about, it was to dismantle the nuclear family. And you are indoctrinated by it. This is why you think that the nuclear family isn't good. The little things that you're harping about, well, the nuclear family, it isn't positive there, it isn't positive. The nuclear family is what's great for children. And guess what? If women wasn't in the workforce, we wouldn't have built a society where we actually need both people to work now. Currently in a society, we know it's true.
It's not true. I can explain.
Generally speaking.
Okay. Are you done? Can I explain why we no longer rely on one income?
Real quick. You are trying to say what I said.
Before Cooley finishes, I predict this guy right here, Evan, he's probably going to say something about the economy. I bet you it's just going to be and it's going to be about the evil billionaires, all the rich people that, did shit to the economy. And that's why we need, or even the boomers, let's say the boomers too, probably blame the boomers. And that's why we need 2 incomes now. It has nothing to do with the nuclear family at all.
Was non-factual.
Okay. Yes. But it's okay. Yeah, because you provided
non-factual.
Yeah, well, it's not anything that you did say, because I don't know, you told a fancy story, I guess. It was more so what you
do you
left
know
out.
that story is true though?
You left out all of the economic history and economic policy in the history of the United States. So I'll explain. Number one, the Reagan and Carter administration broke apart the ability for unions to get labor bargaining power in the workplace. That was that contributed to the decrease in wage. The era of neoliberalism and free trade also contributed to the deindustrialization.
It's always anything that notice he's probably not going to bring anything Democrats have done either. It's always this is what the evil Republicans have done. This is why it is. It's funny how that works.
Of the United States, where manufacturing left overseas. That created a sector in which we now know as the FIRE sector, which is finance, insurance, and real estate. And when America becomes more dependent economically on a finance system and the financialization of our economy, this is important.
I get it, but real quick, the only correlation you're making, you're making one correlation.
Wait, no, I'm not making.
Okay, I'll let you land your plane.
These are directly related to why wage stagnation is occurring.
Yeah, but that's not the argument. So that's what I wanted you to. That isn't the argument. Real quick, because you're only making a correlation to why wages went down.
Yeah,
real quick. But I don't want you to just go off of it.
Dude, that's what I literally let you do. I didn't want to interrupt you, so I just let you go on.
But what I correlated was,
have more of a back and forth. Then
we can have the back and forth, but
you just went on a whole long tangent. Just let me land the plane.
But okay, but what did I correlate? What was my correlation though?
The history of why we have wage
what was my correlation though?
You're saying that feminism is the reason why we have wage stagnation and the reason why we no longer rely on just one simple income and the reason why we have to rely on two incomes. I'm saying that wage stagnation and the cost of living is because of the deindustrialization of America and the financialization of our economy. That is two things. A few other things. The reason why the cost of living was so great in the 1950s was because of the GI Bill. It functioned as a large welfare state for the people. This is why in countries where we have economic participation of women, they didn't have to just kick women out of the workforce. In these models, like the Nordic nations, they have a robust, sophisticated social safety net and welfare system and high rates of unionization. It is that simple.
Okay, so what do you think is a stronger correlate? What you just proposed, which is, I know information on that with the GI and all of that with the union workers. Yeah, that makes sense. That is a correlate to, all right,
it's causal.
No. That's a correlate, right?
No, so we have very specific data on how unions affect wages.
What do you think is a stronger? No, it's a correlate. What do you think is a stronger correlation to wages going up? What do you think is a stronger correlation to wages going up? And not only that, because we're speaking about multiple things right now, but wages going up and also the destruction of the nuclear family, because that's what we're speaking about. I don't want you to get it off of that. This is why I wanted you to, if you're going to correlate something, correlate it towards the destruction of the nuclear family and wages going up. So what do you think is a stronger correlate? If there's half of the population in the workforce, or one like pretty much like almost basically 100% of the population in the workforce, men and women?
Wait,
what do you think is a stronger? Okay, so what do you think is a stronger correlate? What you propose, like the GI Bill, what you propose, like the union workers, etc., or
of the entire economy.
At one point we had pretty much the majority of the workers were men, and then it doubled.
Yeah.
What is a stronger correlation?
So it didn't double overnight. It went up.
It didn't. No one said it doubled overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
It took some time.
I'm just making sure we're clear. So yeah, women's participation in the workforce is not a stronger correlate, and I'll tell you why. If you look at unionization today, even unionization, when you look at industry-specific levels or you look at area-specific levels, you see stronger and higher wages. And
can you demonstrate it from logically? Can you logically demonstrate it? So let's break it down logically real quick. I'll demonstrate it. Okay, demonstrate it logically real quick.
So unions, organized workplaces have higher bargaining power with the capitalists.
We know that
because So you would
admit that with the capitalists,
they have higher bargaining power to negotiate higher wages.
Union workers, but not all of the society is union. Some people are union workers. A lot of them not union workers.
This is actually a good point. Unionization actually increases wages even for sectors and jobs around states and localities.
Some of them because they need to compete.
Exactly. So high rates of unionization. It's in part that, and then also the having manufacturing jobs where goods are created in the United States rather than like the financialization of the United States also contributes to
I have no refutations for any of that. I just want to know how you can explain how it's a stronger. How does that explain and demonstrate how it's a stronger correlation to another half of the population being put into the workforce? So meaning that listen to this. Listen to the logic. Let me listen. Let me land my plane. I'll let you speak. I'll let you get it out.
Was this way over time, and this graph.
No.
I'm saying that if you look at it from a city specific level or a sector specific,
I got you.
You get these same correlations. Let
me give you my argument. Okay, logically speaking. Okay, great.
Stagnation. Wait,
you still speaking, man? You don't even hear my argument. Now you're just prattling, bro. You're just prattling, bro. You're prattling. Let me give you my argument back to it.
Go.
you just said something, and it's okay. We know that, with union workers, they're bargaining for higher rates. So yeah, there's other companies around that's going to compete. That's natural. We know these things. These things are natural, right? So it creates competition. Oh, union workers are getting $15 an hour. Oh, okay. Well, we got to go ahead and increase ours up from, instead of $8 an hour, going to get it up to 12. At least we get some people. And, the union workers, they need certain qualifications, but we're not going to have those qualifications. So this would still, get people in our company to still work here. We know how things work, right? I'm asking from you, which is a stronger correlate to wages increasing?
Yeah. And I am saying,
okay, now listen to this. I'm sorry, not wages increasing, wages for wages decreasing. I'm sorry, wages decreasing. So when you get more people, a bigger population of the people in the workforce, then okay, well, if it's 50 employees that I have working at my company, they're all men. We're paying them good. But now, guess what? We can get more people in to work for this company as well. Like we can get Gary and his wife. We can get Kyle and his wife. So then we have more people. And when there's more people in the company, what do you think happens to wages? Wages would decrease. That will be a stronger correlate to wages decreasing. We're not speaking about increasing. We're speaking about wages decreasing. Wages decreasing. This is why this topic that we're speaking about, when you said, well, Cooley, guess what? A 2-parent household with the man and the woman working does better than the man just working. I'm saying, well, currently, yeah, because we actually don't have a choice. Generally speaking, most people don't have the choice. Both sexes have to work. But prior to feminism, both parties didn't have to work because the wages was higher for one person. Mm-hmm. That's a stronger correlate. You have more people in a workforce, you get to pay them less. You have less people in a workforce, you get to pay them more. You are dumb.
See, okay, Cooley said it best right there. I think what he said right there was pretty much what I was trying to say a little while ago. Yeah, definitely. That's why Cooley is right in that there is a stronger correlate there, because when you have more people in the workforce, then the wages are going to go down. And then, but when you have less, it's going to go up. It's going to be more competitive. So yes, I believe Cooley is more correct there when it comes to why the nuclear family and pre-feminism nuclear family, why why feminism is the reason why the wages have gone down and why you now need 2 incomes just to survive.
That's the strongest correlate, bro. You're just speaking. That's what I said. You're just prattling. You're not giving any good argument. We know about the union. We know about the GI. That's known, bro. You're speaking to someone that has businesses.
You're rattling off on these tangents. I have a response to all.
It's not a tangent.
It is. It absolutely is a tangent.
Okay, well, you haven't explained this at all.
I literally tried.
Okay, you can.
I had a question like
30
minutes ago.
Go ahead.
Wage stagnation.
Give me your question. Ask your question.
Guess what? I don't even need to ask the question. I'll just give you the answer.
All right.
Wage stagnation exists in sectors that women have not entered in higher rates. Even in sectors where men dominate, wage stagnation still exists. And I'll give you one better. What is a more realistic proposal? Getting half of the workforce that is currently in the workforce out of the workforce? That would result in a recession.
I didn't say that.
What is? I'm just saying. How do we go forward from here? If you want to improve wages for people, a more
I can answer that. Go ahead. Let me.
More realistic.
You asked the question. Can I answer it?
I didn't even ask a question.
You just asked a question. You just said how. I can answer your question.
I did not ask a question.
Tiger, did he not ask a question?
I did. It was rhetorical. But let me finish.
Land your plane, then Cooley responds.
Okay. A far more realistic solution to wage stagnation is beneficial economic policy, and that's going to come with labor union protections. Who's at the head of the NLRB? It's also going to come via progressive taxation and a more robust welfare system, and it's also going to come from basically separating companies, ensuring that monopolies don't exist and wealth is continuously concentrated at the top. That is a more realistic and what actual economists agree. No economist realistically agrees with the notion that we should have women work less to raise wages. That's ridiculous, absurd. And if any economist,
that's not what I proposed.
Any economist was okay. I didn't say that's what you proposed. The implication.
So then you're just prattling right now, man.
Yeah.
Well, the implication.
Then why are you arguing for
that you're making is like after the women came
Bro,
into the
you're
workplace, that's
filibustering
why
right now
wages
too.
fell. No, if you take a more,
This is just...
if you take, dude, this is exactly what you did. This is exactly what you did the entire
I didn't.
time.
You want me to give you my argument?
I let you rattle on, and you don't let me like.
No, but you're making an argument for something that I didn't make.
Let's let Evan go on his long diatribes too. You both have been doing,
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, Evan, essentially, you made an argument that I didn't make, though, right? So you said that, no economist is ever going to agree that we should just, remove women from the workforce. Like our economy would crash. What do you mean? Like no one would suggest that. So like this is why I said that you're just prattling and it has nothing to do with my argument because I've never said that. Right. But anyways, what I would propose is the same thing like feminism proposes, which is all, a lot of propaganda. It's all influence based. These chicks got their rights based off of influencing men. That's all it came from. It came from chicks influencing men and NGOs pushing forth money, which is other men that has the feminist ideas pushing these things out to get rights. Chicks couldn't get these rights themselves. They couldn't enforce this themselves.
Yeah. He's saying it's not true, but it's completely true. Cooley's 100% right. It's because women had appealed to men in order to get these things.
No women. There's not any collective group of women that can enforce their own rights. It takes men. They all have to appeal to men to enforce their rights for them. So when we're getting back on the argument,
it's not true.
Okay, you're cutting me off now. Oh, it's not true. So if it's not, that's fine.
I don't know how people could still deny that. They might not like forced doctrine. They may not like it's something that if you don't think like, it's something that a lot of people never thought about. But when you think about it, it's like, yeah, it's true. And it's like whether you like it or not. But a lot of people still like to deny it because I don't know, there's still that something inside of like, no, equality, no. They've been programmed their whole life to be like, no, women are just as equal as men in terms of strength and all these things. And so when you give them a dose of reality, which is no, women have to appeal to men to for rights, they can't deal with it. They can't accept it.
If it's not true, how can women get their own rights enforced void of men?
So that question isn't related to what I just said wasn't true. What's not true?
What did you say?
The idea that so the idea that feminism and women fighting for and achieving rights was just something that they convinced men of is not true. Some of the most influential thinkers who were men of both the founding of America, so you have people like John Stuart Mill, were feminists and believed in women's rights, and then even contemporary philosophers.
That's
like
what
John
I said.
Rawls, or even on the right, like Robert Nozick. They weren't convinced by women, though. They were convinced by logic and reason, understanding women's.
Oh, it's logic and reason. Oh, okay, yeah. How many founding mothers were there, huh? Who were the founding mothers, or were they all founding fathers? They all. This whole like no, it wasn't because women convinced them. No, it's because of logic and reasoning. Like to them, it just makes more sense.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
What you said was that women got their rights from just convincing men, and I'm saying that
I said
influential.
That's not all I said.
Thinkers. Sure, but that's okay for sure. But yeah, I think the Enlightenment era taught us a lot about the nature of other human beings, and understanding that women are also a part of what we would consider equal human beings is why we've gotten to things like feminism. It was the logical conclusion of Enlightenment rights.
You think that the logical, and what do you mean by Enlightenment rights? What do you mean by that?
Enlightenment rights.
Individual rights. So things, liberties like freedom of speech. Everyone gets a right to participate in the political system, like voting or running for Congress. You know, rights that are pretty essential to most liberal democracies. Mostly negative rights, but also rights of democracy. These are all things.
Yeah, but this country wasn't built on that. America wasn't built on liberal rights. What do you mean?
John Locke and are you kidding me? John Locke and John Stuart Mill were the most influential philosophers to our founding fathers. Both are literally the definition of liberal thinkers.
No, that's not what I said. I said this country wasn't found on like liberal rights, like giving people rights. Like, what do you mean? Like there was a whole sector of people that looked like me that didn't have any rights. They were enslaved. And women didn't have rights anyway for the longest. What are you speaking about? This country was not built off of some enlightenment and let's all be fair and equal and egalitarianism. No, this country wasn't built off of that. Men didn't even have the right to vote. You had to have some stake in the game. You just couldn't vote because you were a man either. So you're speaking nonsense. Let me ask you a question because I've seen something on.
I agree with you in part, right? I agree that their application of rights was hypocritical, but the idea even the notion of like democracy and freedom of speech and other rights that were, exercised, again, very inconsistently across groups, and we would agree with that. That in and of itself, though, was very progressive relative to the kings, monarchs, and queens that were existing prior, and that was influenced in large part by these liberal philosophers and liberal.
That's much different than the ideology of feminism, though. That's much different than the ideology of feminism. Feminism is the promotion and the thinking of egalitarianism, that men and women are equal. And that's what you believe, that men and women are equal. So, and maybe this would tie hand in hand because I wanted to ask you this question because the only thing I see that you debated Candace Owens. And one of the things that you said when you debated Candace Owens about this topic here, you said that social pressure, you said that when you debated Candace Owens, you said the reason we live in a patriarchy is because of social pressures. Is that correct? That's not correct. And what exactly did you say in regards to the reason why we have a patriarchal society is because people were pretty much men were influenced to take on certain roles. So you don't think that it's inherent. So give me your argument towards that.
Yeah, so the discussion that I was having with Candace Owens when it came to social pressures is Candace was suggesting that the reason why, so it's tangentially related, but it's not exactly what I said. So Candace was arguing that because women are in the predominance of political and economic positions of power, like they're overwhelmingly the CEO and board members of.
She was saying that they're a matriarchy, right?
Well, yeah, she was saying that, but then she when I brought up the fact that I don't think we live in a matriarchy, we live in a patriarchy, which I think you would even agree with. And I brought up the fact that they're in all of these positions of power. She said that it's because men and women just have innate proclivities to basically wanting different desires in work or whatever. And what I was saying is that social pressures have played such a large role, and we know this because prior and just a couple hundred years ago, we didn't think that it was a woman's role to be educated or to even be logical or rational. Now today, a majority of law school graduates are women. That shows, and logic is one of the quintessential.
Dude, I just literally saw a video of a female judge who who had this guy taken away in handcuffs because he literally looked at her the wrong way. Seriously, he was walking out, and man, did I bookmark? I don't think I bookmarked it. I should find it and bookmark it and show you guys. But literally he was just turning away, and because she thought he looked at her a certain, he winked at her. She thought he winked at her. She was like, "Hey, don't you disrespect me by winking at me. We're not on that same level." And basically, and he was like, "What? I didn't wink at you," and all these things. And then pretty much he tried to walk away, and she had him taken away in handcuffs. So no, don't tell me about this whole women or the logical and the irrational. Like, I'm not saying all women illogical, all women irrational, but come on, like to say that that's something that was just, we just viewed them as for no reason back then. And now when we accuse them of that nowadays, oh, it's just us being bigots or like misogynists, I should say, sexist misogynists. Like, come on, like that's something that is founded in reality. Women tend to be more, in general, irrational and illogical than men. In general, I'm not saying there are no logical women or no rational women, or women are never logical or rational. Not saying that. I'm just saying in general. Okay. Uh, in terms of the being educated part, was it because, assuming that's true, by the way, I don't even know if that's completely true. I mean, weren't there female teachers back then and stuff? How could they teach if they weren't educated? And when it's in schools and the old schoolhouses and stuff, I could have sworn seeing little girls there. So I don't know what the heck this dude's talking about. But even assuming true, what was the reason for it? Was it because we were trying to hold them down, or was it because, like, well, we don't really see a reason for it because, well, their job is to take care of the home and the house and stuff. But I don't even think that's true, because again, you look at the old schoolhouses and stuff, there's like little girls there and stuff. I don't know what he's talking about.
Essential skills you need to pass the LSAT. So that shows that our priors on that, of assuming that women are just biologically designed to be illogical or irrational, was showed to be failed. And because women are increasingly making gains in important sectors of the economy and within politics as well, that shows that when social pressures change, people's interests in what sort of careers they want to hold
can change. Change. So then my question for you is, and that's you pretty much said that. So social pressures. So when you said that, when I heard that, let me ask you this: were you then making a correlate to the patriarchy? Like, the reason we live in a patriarchy is because of social pressures. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think that it's obvious to
me. Is it? Then my question is,
looking at more egalitarian nations that have, I mean, I would still maybe say there are some patriarchal norms in like a country like Iceland, but they've, for the most part, eradicated any sort of rigid patriarchal expectations.
Then my other question is, so there's social pressures which influence the patriarchy, social pressures which influence women. This is why, they're getting higher education and X, Y, Z. Social pressures. My question is, do you think it's only social pressures to why we live in a patriarchy, or no? Like, is there anything that's innate biologically of like why men are in leadership positions?
There may be like some things on the tail end. So I know, for example, that like men on average just scale better when it comes to the like bell curves. There are more men on like both extremes of a bell curve. So for example, you're gonna see more extremely intelligent men, and you're also gonna see more IQ. Extremely unintelligent men. Yeah. And whereas women are more flattened out. So it may be the case that like in certain sectors and I would assume that even like things like testosterone may play some role in personality decision making. Like I don't think it would be crazy to suggest that like men are gonna maybe want to do combat sports more or something like that. So, but on aggregate, I think that for the most part, things are socially constructed. And
So what an idiot. This dude, like, so he concedes, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure due to testosterone or due to this or that, men are more likely to do this, but then he goes to combat sports. It's like, yeah, no, dude. Like he just demonstrated, he said, oh, both ends of the bell curve. Okay, so you just concede then that men are just more naturally inclined to go in certain directions. Okay. Yeah, that's just it's by the way, it's true. It's absolutely true. Men are just more inclined to take risks. Sometimes they're good risks, sometimes they're stupid risks. But yes, they're more inclined to take risks. They're more inclined to, they have more motivations to seek power, basically because it's just sometimes like men have a goal to achieve higher and higher, sometimes for status and to take care of their family as well. They just have a more inclination to go toward these things, and that's perfectly fine. Women have inclinations to go toward different things, and that's also perfectly fine. Men and women aren't the same, and that's the issue that these progressives have problem dealing with, is the fact that men and women are different, and they think that the differences that make women women are just inherently bad, which is the gosh darn about feminism. Is that feminism away teaches women to hate themselves, that if they are going toward the things that make women women, uh and they're not trying to go toward the things that that men value, well then they're not really women, then they're not really feminists, they're just doing it wrong. It's the whole story I told you yesterday about that TED episode, and how the mother chose to stay home and not go for a career as a teacher, and the feminist girl was like, her feminist niece was all like dumbfounded, like, how could you choose to stay here and be a mother and a wife instead of being the girl boss teacher and go for your dreams and such. Like, they can't fathom that she thought the mother was doing it wrong. And that's how feminism does. It teaches women to go against their own nature. It teaches women to hate themselves for their own nature. It also teaches men to hate themselves for their nature as well, which is why, all in all, feminism is not good for society. It seeks to flip everything upside down, mix up all the roles in the name of equality. And in the way, it just messes everything up. So this dude and these progressives will never understand it. Cooley did a great job here, but what did you guys think about this? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel if you really liked it. I have more Cooley debates. I have more other debates on feminism and such that I also think you'll enjoy. Check out the original debate. I have it linked down below. It's on the No Fugazi podcast. And also make sure you listen to the Cool Street Live Mondays through Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time.